What's up guys, welcome back to another video. It's my first one in quite a while. I feel like I've said that a lot recently, but season's over. Arsenal have finished finally for the season, and as I'm sure you know, we finished in 8th in the Premier League in what was a very disappointing season. So 8th in the Premier League, got knocked out in the FA Cup in the 4th round. Europa League, got knocked out in the semi-finals. League Cup, to us, no one really cares, can't remember. So with that in mind, I'm going to be going through the Arsenal team. I'm on the Arsenal website right now. We're going through every single men's first team player. I'm rating this season on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. I usually do, last few I've done this from like a tier list or whatever, but I'm going to do it differently this time. Just go run through and talk about each player as we go. So starting off with the goalkeepers, of course, and with our number one this season, Bernd Leno. Had a fantastic start to the season. I remember he got man of the match against Leeds. Liverpool away in the League Cup at Anfield, was influential. And again, we were under the cosh for a lot, made a lot of really key saves, and obviously was the hero in the penalty shootout as well. It was always going to be a really tough season for him, under a lot of pressure after the club's decision to sell Emiliano Martinez and favour the German. But I feel like he's done okay. I feel like he's made a few mistakes, Everton at home in particular, but what goalkeeper doesn't make mistakes at the end of the day? It's always tough being a goalkeeper. Your great saves are forgotten within like 2 days, and your mistake whatever mistake you make, if it's crucial to the result of the game, it's going to always be out there for a while. So overall, I'm going to give Leno a 6. I think he's been decent. He's not spectacular, but decent. I feel like he's a great shot stopper. But one thing I feel like he needs to improve is the pace of his kicking. I feel like sometimes he's prone to slowing play down a bit, especially when we just want to play up from the back. Alex Vonderson, look, there's no hiding away from it. He's been poor, more than that, awful. Hasn't played since the League Cup game at City, and I mean, if you watch that game, it's clear to see why. Just not really happened for him this season. He always get be brought in as like a backup, whatever. I'm gonna give him a 2. That's all I can say. Matt Ryan, brought in from Brighton on loan in the summer, and not the summer, January, sorry. I'm going to say I've been impressed. I think this guy could be a very solid backup for Leno if we can get him on a permanent deal, which I really hope we can. He's become a real popular figure among the club, among his teammates and fans alike, and it's clear to see how much he loves the club. He's talked about before about him as a boyhood Arsenal fan. And yeah, I feel like he loves being here and feel like we'd love to keep him. So with that in mind, he's played 3 games, was pretty solid in all of them. Didn't really make any mistakes really, so 6 for Matt Ryan. Would like to get him back. Hector. Poor, unfortunately. Look, he's been here a long time. And I feel like we need to move on in that position. Right back, we need to bring in a new first choice right back this summer, and it's unfortunate because, like I said, I've grown up watching this guy play, and he's not what he was. He's not what he was with. He's been unlucky before with like his injuries or whatever, and he's lost a lot of his pace. The thing is, he's never been a brilliant defender, but he's mastered a lot of how good he was going forward. A bit similar to Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool, but now with the terrible injuries he's had to suffer, he's lost a lot of his pace, which was probably his main attribute, and yeah, he's just not what he was. It's really unfortunate because deep down I love this player, man, but yeah, he's just not what he was. I think we need to move on. In terms of his season, started decent, got in the Spain squad, but since then, yeah, he's been poor, man, and yeah, I think we need to move on. So I'm gonna give Hector a 4. Kieran Tierney, one of my favourite personal players. I absolutely love this guy. I think he's had a fantastic season. It's just those injuries. And we were warned by Celtic fans that he's basically what Celtic fans were saying, is that he's a fantastic player, but he is prone. But yeah, when he's played, he's been nothing short of brilliant. And if he had played more, he would be definitely one of the favourites for Player of the Year for us. But overall, I'm going to give KT a 7. I think when he played, he's been really good. One thing I really like about him is he's a perfect fullback because A lot of fullbacks nowadays are either good defensively, for example, like Wan-Bissaka at United, good defensively, poor going forward. Trent Alexander-Arnold, arguably the best right back in the world. If you talk to any Liverpool fan, they'll tell you he's brilliant going forward, but suspect defensively. Kieran Tierney's good both ways, and I really like that about him. Fantastic professional, great guy, fantastic player, and they're still young as well. So love Kieran Tierney, man. Gabriel, and this is an interesting one. Brought in this time last year from our old friends over in France, Lille, who have won Ligue 1, of course, so congrats to them. And he had a fantastic start, almost perfect, really. Won, I think, Player of the Month for us 3 times in a row. Scored against Fulham on his debut, scored against Wolves. Got man of the match against Fulham, and Man United away at Old Trafford, which for me that was our best moment of the season. That win at Old Trafford, brilliant. Got man of the match then, and he was fantastic. Then I think his problems started around January when he got COVID, and he came back and was a bit inconsistent with his play. But he still had some great games, brilliant against Spurs at home in the win there, great against Olympiacos, scored that really important goal, great header actually, if I remember that was a fantastic header. But overall I think it's been a pretty positive first season with Gabriel. I think he needs a solid partner next to him, and I think he could be a fantastic player. If he is partnered with someone that's like Saliba next year, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But for me, Gabriel, I'd say 6.5 if we're doing decimal places. Yeah, I'll say 6.5 for Gabriel. I think we'll do decimals, but we only do 0.5s. So 6.5 for Gabriel. Super Rob Holding. Played a lot of games this season, actually. I feel like not many people wouldn't realise how much he played, but he's been one of our highest appearance makers of the season. And unfortunately, that's not a good thing because he's not very good. Again, I like Rob Holding, man, but the reality of the situation is he's not a great footballer. He's not a bad footballer, but he shouldn't be starting week in, week out for Arsenal, for being honest. Good squad player, but shouldn't be starting week in, week out. But I'd say he's had an okay season. Had a few good games, had a few poor games, so I'm just going to go in the middle and say 5 for Super Bob. Cedric, again, interesting one. I feel like when he played at right back, he was decent. He had a brilliant performance, if I remember, home to Newcastle. Then with Tierney being injured, he was shifted over to left back and was poor. Apart from the Southampton game, if I remember, he was brilliant there. So again, with Cedric, I'm just going to say 5. And I think the same could be said for both these final two, Pablo Mari and these next two, Callum Chambers and Pablo Mari. I think both of them can be decent squad players, but both of them shouldn't really be starting. I think both of them should be given a 5. Chambers maybe could have an argument for a 6, but I think it's because he hasn't played loads. I think it's 5, but when he has played, he's been mostly decent. Mari as well. I think that he's been decent, but hasn't played loads. So I think both these guys will be given a 5. David Luiz leaving, or hasn't already left, I guess. I'm sad to see him go. I like David Luiz. I think he's had his mistakes, but those most last season. To be honest with you, if you look at his games he played this season, I don't think he's really made any mistake which are prone to us conceding. I guess maybe Wolves away, but to be honest with you, that wasn't really his fault. I think that was a scandalous decision by who was it? I can't remember who the referee was, but yeah, he was on something that day. But I think David Luiz had a pretty solid season. I'm gonna give him a 7. I think he's been really good when he's played most of the time. Now, so there's the defenders. Moving on to the midfielders, and what better place to start than, in my opinion, our player of the season, Bukayo Saka, the star boy, the wonder kid. And yeah, I think I think a lot of Arsenal fans would agree with me here. I think he should be our player of the season. He's started to slow down towards the end of it, but I think it's because he's been overused. I think that I say overused. It's clear how important he is. So obviously we're going to want to play him as much as possible, but at the end of the day, he's still very young, only 19 years old. If you played over 40 games, spread like a game every 3 days for a whole year, your body's gonna have to adapt. And yeah, I think but yeah, ignoring that, fantastic. Such a key player for us this year, and yeah, I'm really, honestly, man. What can I say about Saka? I'm gonna give him. I don't know what I'm going to give him. Either an 8 or a 9. To be honest, I'm going to have to say 9. I think I can't do much more than what he has, really. Fantastic season for Saka. Long may it continue. Dani Ceballos. Another interesting one. and unfortunately, he's been poor. He's gone back to Real Madrid again, and hopefully it's for good, because to be honest with you, he's not been good enough. He's had 1 or 2 good games, but that's not enough really, and I think we can see he's some talent, but I don't think he suits this country and this league, unfortunately. So I'm going to give Sabas a 3, and hopefully he finds a new club somewhere in like Spain or Italy, where I think he'll quite suit their league. Martin Odegaard, similar to Sabas, loaned from Real Madrid, and unlike Sabas, was actually good. I love Odegaard, man. I really took a liking to him, which is not ideal because he's only been here for 6 months. And I don't like getting attached to loan players, because obviously at the end of the day when they leave, leaves me feeling quite sad. But look, I'd love Odegaard back. I don't think it's going to happen with Zidane leaving, unfortunately. But hey, I can sit and hope. But yeah, I've really took a liking to Odegaard a lot with Arsenal fans. He's had a few quiet games, but mostly been really good. I look to Spurs at home, West Ham away, last game of the season at Brighton at home. Came against Crystal Palace, got a brilliant assist for Martinez's late winner. So yeah, I'm going to give Odegaard a 7. Very impressed in this loan spell. Thomas Partey, and this will be one which a lot of Arsenal fans will probably be talking about a lot, because he was a very high profile signing, £45 million, and he reminds me a lot of Pepe last season. That you can see this guy is a quality footballer, but he's been unlucky this season with injuries. And look, when you come into a new league, it's always going to take you time to adapt. But look, it's clear for any person to see this guy's quality. He's had some, but I'm not going to sit here and say he's had a great season, because he hasn't. But I feel like next year, with hopefully a proper partner in the field, I think this guy could maybe a bit off topic, but at the time of filming this, it's looking likely that Granit Xhaka will be moved over, will be sold to Roma. And I've heard a lot of people say that if that's the case, we might move to 4-3-3. I think Partey could work really well in a 4-3-3. But anyway, that's off topic. Partey this season, I'm going to give it a 6. He's not been brilliant, but he's struggled with injuries. Got to take them into account. He's not been fit for a lot of the season. But look, even a 75% Thomas Partey is still comfortably our best midfielder and one of our best players. And I'm really looking forward to seeing a fully fit Thomas Partey next season with a proper pre-season under his belt. Mo Elneny, a bit of a cult hero for myself personally and for the entire club. Look, again, he's never gonna, like some of the previous players mentioned, like Holding, Chambers, whatever. He's never gonna be a starter, but he could be a very good squad player. I would definitely keep him for next season to be that role. Look, we all know he's not the best footballer in the world, but what you're gonna get from Elneny is 110% every single game, and I love that about him. He's probably our hardest working player, really, up there, like some of the other youngsters. But Elneny's always gonna give you 110%, and the post is just falling up behind me. Anyway, Mo Elneny, he had a really good start to the season, if I remember correctly. He got, was he man of the match against United away? Or was it Gabriel Paya? All 3 of them were fantastic. But he stepped in when needed, scored against Dundalk, and then Olympiacos, scored against Newcastle as well, his first Premier League goal. So overall, I'm giving Elneny a 5 or 6, 5.5. We say for Elneny. Emile Smith-Rowe, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I think that he has almost single-handedly solved a lot of our problems. There's no coincidence that since he's come in, we've been so much better. He came in on Boxing Day against Chelsea and was influential in getting us our first win for what, a month, 2 months. And if you look at the league table, since Christmas, we're second. And obviously it's still not great because it's a 38 game season, not a 23 game season. But it's clear that progress is being made, and just like Saka, this kid is an absolute quality talent. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do with a full season under his belt. Hopefully injury free, fingers crossed. Yeah, Smith-Rowe's been brilliant. I'm going to say an 8 for Smith-Rowe. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. Granit Xhaka, the pantomime villain. For a lot of Arsenal fans, no one divides our fan base more than this guy, but I think he's had a good season. Look, at the end of the day, I'm not his biggest fan, I'm not his biggest hater. I never have been his biggest hater, I've never been his biggest fan, but I think he's had a good season. I think he's a player which, again, like Smith-Rowe, you need to look at the stats with this and say, look, we're a much better team with him in there. Our win percentage is so much better when he plays. and I think it's a big credit to him because he gets a lot of hate, he gets a lot of stick, but he's got his qualities. Can be a very good footballer. Yes, he's got a mistake in him, but who doesn't? Who doesn't have a mistake in him? And I know Messi and Ronaldo probably don't have a mistake in him, but that's not the point. Look, he's had a good season, and I don't care whether you like it or not. He has. I'm gonna give him a 7 because I think he's a key player to our team, and if he does go, I hope we replace him with someone who can do that job just as good, if not better. Alex Lacazette, our top scorer of the season, 17 goals, 13 in the league. Came under a lot of stick at the start because had a bit of a tough time. You missed a lot of chances, but I think he's had a good season. Do I think we should sell him? To be honest, I wouldn't be against it. 30 years old, 1 year left on his deal. That poster is just that's not in a good place. But yeah, Lacazette. I'm going to say a 7. He's had a good season, but I wouldn't be against selling him, to be honest. But yeah, good season with Lacazette, top scorer. Scored a winning goal at Spurs as well, so that's a good highlight. So yeah, 7 for Lacazette. Willian. What can I say? Awful. Unfortunately, it's just not worked. And I had high hopes for the signing, to be honest. I looked at him and thought, good player for Chelsea last season. Free transfer. Obviously, he's on quite a bit of money, but obviously the actual transfer fee was nothing. And it's just not worked. And I think it's best for everyone involved that he leaves this summer. To be honest, he's had his few decent moments. He was brilliant on his debut. Scored a free kick against West Brom. Great against Leicester away, but apart from that, I'm gonna give him a 2. Awful. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, the captain, and I think I've got a lot to say about this guy. And so get the cup of tea ready because I'm gonna be talking for him for quite a while. I think because I've got a lot to say. Look, I'm Aubameyang's biggest fan. I absolutely adore this guy, and I really don't like the criticism which has been put under by a lot of our fans this season. Look. He's been poor. I know it. He knows it. We all know it. But I think some of the disgusting things I've seen, people saying he's useless. He's past it. We should sell it. It's ridiculous. And yeah, it really annoys me because Arsenal fans in particular, all football fans, but Arsenal fans in particular seem very reactionary. I think people forget that this time last year he'd scored a brace in winning us the FA Cup. Like what this guy has done since what he's done his whole career, and what he's done for us as a club in the last 4 years, whatever, has been nothing short of incredible. His goal scoring record is fantastic, and at the end of the day, this is someone who scored 20 plus goals in every season in his career, apart from this one in the last 6 years. At Dortmund and here, and yeah, I think that I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, and this isn't personal bias. I think that he's had his problems off the pitch. His mother was going through some bad times, and that's gonna affect anyone, let alone an athlete. And he had injury. He had caught malaria at one point, which isn't a really serious thing, but it's no joke. It can kill you. Yeah, he's not had a dreadful season in terms of goals. He still scored 15 goals, which isn't awful, but for a world class player like him, it's obviously not good enough. And I feel like I'm not sure about him being captain. I feel like the captain's curse at Arsenal was a thing, and I think we're seeing it again here. We saw it with Xhaka, Koscielny, Gallas, Vermaelen, maybe not Mertesacker, but so many captains have recently. The captain's curse has been a thing for us, and I feel like him being captain, similar to Granit Xhaka, I think it's too much pressure. I think that he's not. I don't think he's a bad captain, in terms of leader, but I don't think he's the right man really. And I feel like if we can maybe give the captaincy to someone else, but obviously the issue with that, it might upset him. I know how much pride he takes in being the captain, but I'm not sure whether it's right for him. But look, I'm hoping that he can get back to his best next year. I have full confidence he will. But look, at the end of the day, like I said, we all know, he knows, we all know that he's been poor this season. So I'm gonna have to give him a 4 for the season, Aubameyang. But look, I'm fully behind him next year. Nicola Pepe, and this is a very relevant topic because he has been absolutely fantastic towards the end of the season. 5 goals, combined in this, like in May or whatever, in this month. I was unlucky not to win Player of the Month, to be honest. But yeah, he's had a fantastic end of the season, and I think that one thing which I look at with Pepe and look at the turning point for him this season was the red card against Leeds. And I remember after that game, a lot of people saying, "Oh, sell him. It's not worked. It's not good enough." And I remember thinking at the time, I think this could be a blessing in disguise here. I think this could be what wakes him up. You know, trigger something in his head and go, "Yeah, this isn't good enough for me. I need to step it up." And he has. Since like Boxing Day, whatever, second half of the season, he's been fantastic. And just like Partey, you can see he's a quality player, but we need to see it more. I think he's unlucky with Arteta. There's one thing that I don't like about Arteta, where Pepe would have a great game, but we drop him next week. Hope that doesn't happen. I want to see this guy start week in, week out, whether it's on the right or the left, every week. And there we go. There goes that poster. We have to sort that out after this video, but yeah, Pepe, I'm gonna give him a 7. I think it's been a strong season, and yeah, I'm looking forward to him seeing him next year. Reiss Nelson. Now, I'm a big fan of Reiss Nelson. I like to play a lot, but to be honest with you, I'm not going to mark him because he's not played a lot of the season. I think that he hasn't featured at all since we got out of the Europa League group stage, which he played a bit in that. But I think with Reiss Nelson, I think we need to loan him, maybe sell him if we can, get 15 million. But I think he's a player of talent, but with the players ahead of him, I just can't see him getting a look in, I'm afraid. So I'm not going to even mark Reiss Nelson, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with him this summer. Eddie Nketiah. Now, Eddie is things with Eddie. Look, I look at Saka, I look at Smith Rowe, I look at Martinelli, I look at these 3 guys. I think these guys are wonder kids. These guys, incredible talents. Unfortunately, I don't see that with Eddie Nketiah. I don't think he's got what it takes to be a striker for Arsenal Football Club. You know, the starting striker, and he's been given enough chances. There's talk right now, as the time I'm recording this, of him potentially being used in deal with Brian for Basuma. I think that'd be perfect. I think that he could be a decent player for Brian. I think that he's someone which he's good. His movement's quality, but apart from that, like, he's a decent finisher, but he's just not what we need. And I think he could be a good player in the future, but just not at Arsenal. To be honest, he's been given enough chances, and he hasn't really worked out. And I'd like to see Balogun take over his role next season. It's all like be given a chance instead of him, I'm afraid. So I'm gonna give Eddie a 4. Gabriel Martinelli, I absolutely love this guy. You know, and it frustrates me a lot, which hasn't played much. I get that towards the start of the season he had a really bad injury, whatever, but he needs to play more, and I really hope he plays more next season with no European football, whatever. It's going to be interesting, but again, he's someone else which has struggled with injuries, and we need to keep him injury free because just like Smith Rowe and Saka, this guy's got all the talent in the world, and yeah, when he has played, he's been good. Scored goals against Sheffield United and Palace. The Palace one was really was what could have been a big goal. Yeah, I think that when he's played, he's been good. So I'm gonna give him a 6, 6.5. I think he's been decent. So there's everyone. Obviously got players on loan, which I'm not gonna rate. But I'm just gonna talk about. I think William Saliba been brilliant on loan at Nice. Really looking forward to seeing him get some game time for us next season. The reporters are going to be given a chance, so looking forward to that. Klaus naturally knows off. Again, Mavropanos, again, like Saliba's been brilliant over at Stuttgart. I think he's at Stuttgart in the Bundesliga, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets a chance. Lucas Torreira hasn't really featured much for Atletico, but they won the league, so you've got to say it's been a successful loan for him. But I think he'll be off this summer. Ainsley, Maitland-Niles, solid but not spectacular, I guess, at West Brom. Got relegated, so yeah. Just Joe Willock been brilliant over at Newcastle. I think there'll be some saga with them over the summer because they'll want to keep him desperately. But hopefully we keep him. Look, if we sell him, I want it to be nothing less than 30 million. Until Guendouzi, it really disappoints me with Guendouzi because he's a player which we all know has talent, but it's his attitude which lets him down, and I think we should sell him. And it's no coincidence that his manager, Lorient, Arteta, and the Hertha Berlin manager on loan, like, they've all had problems with attitude, and yeah, it really lets him down, unfortunately. So it looks like he'll be going to Marseille, and I wish him good luck there. So that's going to be the end of the video. Every Arsenal player ranked out of 10 for the 2021 season. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.